Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're interested on how I feel and think about this Rare Beauty Skin Tint foundation, then stay tuned and keep watching. Alright, so it is day one of me testing out this product. I am using the shade 32N, which is for neutral. It did come in this bag, which is so nice and cute. I like it. It means that they put effort into their packaging, which I like. And then it comes with a little letter, a little note, which is so sweet. So I like that as well. When I look at stuff like this that comes from brands, I just think it's so thoughtful and that they put a lot of effort and ideas into it. So I really appreciate that. Just as getting a product, it feels like I'm getting a Christmas present or a birthday present. So it's just really nice to open something up like that. But yes, again, I am using the shade 32N. So this is the product. It does have SPF in it, so it is a little bit lighter after blending it in and everything. So I recommend going a shade or two darker from what you would naturally get. They do have pictures online, and if you use her other foundation, they have a comparison of the two, which is helpful. But yeah, it's a tube, it squeezes, which I like because it's sanitary. And because it is a tube, it is easy to disperse the product. And if you have clients or anything, it's nice to use for that as well. But yes, it does have SPF in it, the foundation, which I love because it's protecting your skin from the sun. And it's just in your foundation, so it's not an extra step. So it's very nice. So I went ahead and I put it all over my face. I did put too much, which I realized after blending it. I am using a brush because that's what I usually use for my foundation. So I'm just keeping that in with my routine. And I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it out as much as I can. But I really did use a ton of product. But I'm just gonna blend out as much as I can. Also, for this day, I did not wear any primer. I usually don't wear primer. Sometimes I do, depending on the foundation and the condition of my skin. If I feel like my skin is going to be a little bit more oily that day or whatever, I use some primer. But for the most part, I don't really use primer. So this day I did not use primer, just to see how it would perform on the skin. Right away after blending this, I am not a fan. It was not sticking to my nose. It was not sticking to certain parts of my face. But I still went ahead. I got my beauty blender and I just went ahead and pushed the product into my skin. That way it would blend nicely. It would be in my actual skin and it wouldn't look cakey or greasy or anything. And the sponge would absorb the excess product. As you can see, it does give a nice glow and a skin-like texture, which I like. I think it looks really good and natural, which is pretty. But now I'm just gonna go ahead and continue the rest of my normal makeup routine. I like to take two concealers and mix them. And I like to put the concealer on my forehead, underneath my eyes, my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin, using the same sponge as I use for the foundation, and I am just blurring it all together. Now that everything is blended out, I am gonna go ahead and use my powder like I always do, just to set it. And with this type of foundation, it does feel a little bit heavier and cakier for some reason. I think it's because of the SPF. And because it does have that skin-like glowy texture, it is going to be a little bit heavier once you add product, since it is a lot more moisture. So it's kind of normal, but I'm honestly not a fan of that because I don't really like the feeling of having makeup on my face all day. I love makeup, but I kind of like it to feel lightweight. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put my face powder and put it all over my face. And honestly, at this point, it does not look good. It has splotches, it was not sticking to my skin, and it just looked horrible, to be honest. But now I'm gonna go ahead and contour like I normally do. After contouring, I am adding my blush. So this is basically my normal everyday makeup routine, just with the different foundation I usually use. But I just wanted to test the process just to see how I feel about the foundation. And the shade match, I'm not mad at. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest. The shade range, I think, is also pretty good, considering the SPF does make it lighter, so it is a nice shade range for having SPF, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm just putting mascara on now. My eyes are done. Everything's pretty much done at this point. I am gonna add my lip product, so I'm lining my lips, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and do my lipstick and gloss. So recently, after lip lining my lips, I do love the Rare Beauty blushes. I love these blushes. I also love putting them on my lips, not only my cheeks and my nose as a blush, but I love this as a lip product. It is so good. So I'm putting that on my lips, a little bit on my nose just to warm up my nose, because I felt like the foundation was not sticking to my nose. And then I went ahead and added a gloss. Now with the back camera, this is what it's looking like. It doesn't look good, I'm not gonna lie. It looks pretty bad. I feel like my pores are big. I feel like it's not sticking to my nose. It looks splotchy. This is what it looks like in natural sunlight, which it does look a lot better in the sunlight. Then this is what it looks like later throughout the day. It's not looking the best. So this is the next day. I decided to try it with primer to see how it would hold on, because I really do like this foundation. Like, I really want to give it a chance. Sometimes it's not always the foundation, sometimes it's the products you mix it with, sometimes it's products you need for it, sometimes it's just your skin texture trying to adapt to it, so it shifts a little bit. So I really wanted to give this foundation a chance before giving a review on it. So I just went ahead, added some primer. This is a Hydro Grip primer by Milk. This is my go-to primer when I feel like a foundation is not sticking to my skin. So I went ahead and added this primer, especially to the areas I felt like were splotchy and did not stick to my face. And then I'm just using a fan to make sure it dries down and is still pretty tacky before adding the foundation. This time I used less product and I dotted it all over my face. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm just using a brush. I like to use brushes to blend out my foundation. It just feels really good to me to use a brush. I like the way it applies usually. But with this, I feel like it was doing the same thing. It was still being a little bit splotchy. So I was kind of disappointed, but I still went ahead and just blended it out. Got it in all the areas I needed it to go into, and just blended it out like I would a normal foundation with a brush. So now I'm just adding a little bit more product to certain areas to see if the product would build up or not with coverage. I would say this product is a light to medium coverage. With medium, I feel like more towards the light side instead of like medium heavy. It's like medium light. But it does build up a little bit and adds a little bit more coverage, as you can see by my mouth area and some of the other areas. And it just blended nicely, so I like that it was able to do that. Right here on my nose, you can see the product is still not really sticking, which is unfortunate. But after I used a brush, a makeup brush, I'm gonna go ahead and use a sponge just to push the product into the skin. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and pretty much repeat the rest of my normal makeup routine, which I showed the previous day in the beginning of this video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back with my full face. This is my full face. This is what it came out to. I don't know what to feel about it. I kind of don't like it because of how it looks, if I'm being honest. Here's the back camera. It does look a little bit better with the primer, but you can see it still looks rough, to say the least. This is what it looks like in natural daylight. I did go to the dentist, so my mouth area is a little bit wiped away. This is day 3 of me trying this foundation. Just so you guys know, this is what my natural skin looks like. This is the texture. I have neutral skin, so that's what my skin is like, so you know what to expect with this foundation. I did like how it performed with the primer a little bit better, so I am using primer. I am using a little bit less though this time. And this day I decided to do a completely different process, something completely out of my normal makeup routine, just to see how it looks. I wanted to do it a little bit of a natural way. So after blending the primer, I made sure to put it in the areas that I felt did not stick to the foundation. So that's what I'm doing here, but I will show you guys what I end up doing because I do completely change my makeup routine for the most part. And before applying the foundation, I like to make sure to shake it to make sure it has everything mixed together, everything blended, nothing separated and sitting at the bottom of the bottle. So that's why I shook it so well. I went ahead and applied a good amount, and this time I was deciding on how I wanted to blend it out, if I wanted to use a sponge, my fingers, or a brush. Naturally, I would like to use a brush, but this time I was like, let me try it with my fingers to see how that looks. And naturally with foundation or anything that's like a skin tint or anything, I hate using my fingers. I hate it so much. I just feel like it's messy and it's just not comfortable to me. I don't really like how it feels when I use my fingers, but I decided to try it with my fingers and I didn't like it. So I went ahead and got my brush and I just went ahead and blended it out with a brush. So now after blending everything with a brush, I'm just doing what I normally did, which was use a sponge and go ahead and press the product into your skin. Now this is what I normally do on any makeup routine that I have. So after that, I am gonna go ahead and start doing my concealer as usual. So this part is pretty much the same, mixing 2 separate concealers and just putting them underneath my eyes, my nose, my cupid's bow, my chin, and my forehead. So now the concealer is pretty much blended in with the foundation, and honestly it looks pretty good so far. It looks a lot better than the previous 2 days, so I don't know if my skin adapted better to it or if it was the combination with the primer and the smaller amount, but I think it's starting to look a lot better. Now I'm just contouring my face, and naturally I would set my concealer with my setting powder, but instead I decided to go ahead and contour since I'm doing a completely different routine today. And I would naturally use a cream contour on top of this. With this process I am trying to do, I'm trying to do like a natural finish pretty much instead of my normal powder process. But instead I am just using powder because I couldn't find my cream products for some reason, but I'm just contouring as usual. Now after contouring, I am going in with the blush. This is the Rare Beauty blush that I so much love, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use that with my fingers. Also making sure to use a little bit because a little goes a long way. This stuff is pigmented, so gotta be a little bit careful, but I do really like this product. It's one of my favorites, honestly. I did put a little bit too much, got a little bit too excited and overestimated. So I'm just taking a sponge and try blending it out, but I felt like it was too low. So I decided to go in with the foundation just to clean it up a little bit. So that's what I did there. And then just using the same sponge and blending it out. And it looks so good. So I'm happy about that. So that process was easy to fix. Now I feel like my skin is looking pretty good so far. I do look a little bit like a grease ball, which I'm not a fan of, and it does feel a little bit heavy, but it's not too bad. It just feels oily and greasy. But now I'm just taking my setting powder and I'm putting that underneath my eyes, my cupid's bow, my chin, and then I'm cleaning up that contour a little bit, and then a little bit on my forehead as well, just to set it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my face powder. This is Charlotte Tilbury, using a brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and lightly tap on the rest of my face and then dust off the foundation, the setting powder that I had sitting there. Now after dusting off the excess powder and everything, my skin, it does look better from the previous 2 days, but it's still not looking the best. I am still running into the same problem situation. But now I'm just gonna go ahead, put some mascara on and finish my lips, and then be right back. Alright, so now I'm back. This is what it looks like. It honestly does not look bad. It looks pretty good from the front camera. But from the back camera, it looks better than the previous 2 days. I will give it that. It looks a lot better than the previous 2 days. But it's still not sticking to my nose area. Underneath my eyes it looks a lot better. Certain areas it looks better. This is later on that day, pretty much the end of the day. Pretty much just came off my nose at that point, especially around my mouth area, so it's not my favorite if I'm being honest. I feel like my skin just needs to adapt to this a little bit more. It's just not really working out for me right now. I do love the shade range. I do love the SPF in the foundation. Try it out, see what you think. It just didn't work for me. I did give it 3 different days and 3 different routines, and it just was not working out for me. But it depends on your skin texture and how your skin works with certain products. But anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace.